What's up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today, you guys, with a brand new review for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Season 5, episode 11. This episode was titled Troop Salt Lake City, you guys. So, before we get into it, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and have me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and also by sharing the video, you guys. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let us go ahead and get into this episode of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Mm, mm, mm. This episode tonight, you guys, I don't even really know where to start because the episode, the end of the episode was so heavy. Like, in all my years of watching Housewives, I don't think I've ever cried as much as I did with tonight's episode. So I really don't know where to start at because I don't want to, because part of me doesn't want to start with Mary, but part of me doesn't want to end with Mary at the same time either, you guys. I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, to be quite honest with you guys, because like I said, I really truly do not know where to start. Yeah, this episode. I guess we'll start up. Let's see where we want to start up at, because there's a lot of other stuff to talk about. I don't want to talk about Whitney and Heather just yet, and I don't like. Ah, God, I don't know where to start, you guys, because actually, you know what? We'll start pretty heavy. We'll start pretty light, very light. We'll start with Lisa, you guys, and I feel a way about Lisa Barlow because she pissed me off at the end of this episode. So Lisa, we see Lisa as she and Angie, they are meeting up at the aquarium. So Lisa has Henry with her, and Angie has Electra with her. So they went to the aquarium. When I tell you guys, when that woman put a snake out, I was like, oh, girl, hell no. You pulling out a snake, talking about, do you want to touch it? Absolutely not. I'm good on that one. You can keep that snake, and you can keep that snake the hell away from me. But yeah. So Lisa and Angie, they talk to each other. It honestly, I don't feel like it's going anywhere because I don't think Lisa even was remotely listening to what Angie was saying to her. I felt like it was going in one ear and out the other. And I honestly feel like with Angie just apologized to Lisa just to smooth things over so that way they can be good with each other. That's my opinion. But you guys can tell me what you think because Lisa kept talking about Whitney this and Whitney that and Whitney. It's like, girl, you want to blame everything on Whitney. How about taking a little bit of accountability and being like, you know what? Maybe I wasn't a good friend to you. Maybe I didn't do this right by you. Maybe it was really more so Angie, apologizing to her, whereas Lisa is sitting here telling Angie how she felt about her saying that she's a bad mom. And Angie tells Lisa, I never said that you were a bad mom. Um, but she does feel like, you know, Lisa hasn't been a good friend to her, right? So Lisa's fake crying. I was like, Lisa, girl, you fake crying, but not one tear is coming out of your eyes. So who you trying to fool? Well, you must have fooled the right person because, like I said, at the end of it, Angie apologized to Lisa. It wouldn't have been me, but you know, it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think about that because that's really all that happened in that scene. Angie just apologizing to Lisa, which I don't think that Lisa was deserving of an apology from Angie. But again, like I said, you guys tell me what you think. Because again, like I said, All you kept hearing from Lisa was what Whitney's done, what Whitney has said, what Whitney has done, what Whitney has said. It's like, but can you say what you have done? How you may have done something with your friendship with her? Oh, you can't? Okay, cool. So that's it for Lisa. And the next scene we'll talk about is going to be. So I was going to get her out the way. And this is somebody that I've really liked in Salt Lake City. But in this episode, I feel a way about her, and that's Meredith. If you guys have been watching my review since season 1 of Salt Lake City, then you guys know I do like Meredith. But in this week's episode, Meredith, girl, your slip is showing, and I wasn't feeling you because you were wrong. You were 100% wrong. So you guys remember in last week's episode when Angie and Meredith were going back and forth with each other, and um, Mary said to them, Angie, stop. Meredith, stop. Now, production, I'm gonna call y'all. I got y'all's pin nickel and dime in this episode because in the flashback clip, y'all only showed the scene where she told Meredith she can leave, but she said the same. She said it to both Meredith and to Angie. She was trying to get both Meredith and Angie to stop screaming, and she told them if you guys both can't listen to me, you can leave. They kept going back and forth with each other. She screamed at them again, Angie, stop. Meredith, stop. And she said, "Okay, if you guys can't stop, Meredith, you can leave." Like she said, well, she didn't say Meredith. She said Meredith, and then she said, "If you guys can't stop, you can leave." And so Meredith got up and left because she said her feelings were hurt. I was like, "Girl, how are your feelings hurt when y'all in this woman's house as invited guests and screaming and yelling at each other?" The the caucasity of it all, right? So Meredith is in her feelings because she says that, you know, since the breakfast at Tiffany's, which I forgot to mention in last week's review, which I forgot two things in last week's review. I forgot to mention Angie in the review. My bad. I also forgot to mention in the review about Mary saying that Jared slid in her DMs. I thought that was hilarious. But what was I talking about? So I forgot where I was going with that whole. Oh, Meredith feels that Mary owed her an apology. I was like, for what, Meredith? She didn't say or do anything to you. She was just basically telling you and Angie, if you guys cannot respect her house and you guys can't stop screaming and yelling at each other, that both of you can leave her home. She didn't direct it solely towards you. So now you in your feelings and thinking that Mary owes you an apology. So Meredith invited Mary out with her, and she gets to the place, and so she's now just waiting on Mary to show up, right? So Mary showed up 40 minutes late, and we'll talk about why Mary was 40 minutes late. So when Mary got there, Meredith is asking her, is everything okay? And she's like, yeah. And so Meredith is saying that the way that she acted at her home was completely out of character for Mary. Meredith, the way you came at Mary was wrong. What you could have said to Mary is you could express your feelings to Mary, how you could say, when I was at your home, I felt my feelings were hurt, and I was hurt that you asked me to leave your home. That's one thing. But then the way that you came at her, you could have said, Mary, the way that things happen at your house, it's not in line with our friendship. I look at you as a good friend of mine. Like, is everything okay with you, right? Is there anything that you need to talk about? Is there anything that you want to talk about? But instead of doing that, it came off more accusatory than concern, in my personal opinion. But you guys will definitely tell me how you feel, right? So Mary and Meredith got into it, and Mary's like, "Girl, bye. Have a good day." And so Mary ended up leaving. And I'm just like I said, I'm just looking at Meredith with a little bit of a side eye. So then later in the episode, we see as Meredith is having a Shabbat dinner. So at the Shabbat dinner, she's invited everyone with the exception of Angie, Whitney, and Mary, right? So they sat down for dinner and things were pleasant at first. And then it took a turn at the end of the dinner. And I was like, well, I don't know if that was the end of the dinner, but I know it was the end of the scene. So at one point in the dinner, they were talking to Bronwyn about what happened at the camp thing, which we'll talk about that in just a minute. And, Bronwyn, now let me say this real quick, right? I do like Bronwyn. I really do. I think Bronwyn has been a good addition to the show. But also when it comes to Bronwyn, I kind of have a little bit of a side eye for you too. Just a little bit of a side eye. Not a big side eye, but a little side eye. Especially the fact that you're throwing people under the bus who has been friendly to you, i.e., Angie and i.e., Whitney. But like I said, we'll discuss that in just a few minutes. Now, what I will say though about Meredith, Chloe looks just like her, and Brooks looks like Seth. And I know they have another daughter. I forget, I haven't saw that daughter in a long time, but I know they have another daughter, and I forget who she looks like, right? Neither, it doesn't really matter. So, also with Todd, the way he, the more I'm looking at it now, the way he talks to Bronwyn, I just really don't. It's like a father, reprimanding his daughter. And we also found out that Todd did a background check on Bronwyn. You know what? If you got to do a background check on somebody that you're interested in or dating, that's a little weird to me. But I mean, okay, I guess if that's what he thought he needed to do, then more power to him. I'm not gonna say what that man should have done or should or should not do, but more power to him, right? It is what it is. So, excuse me, y'all. After that, this is where the ladies, and it's not even the ladies, it's really more so Meredith and is a whole hell of a lot Lisa, where they lost me at, right? So they started talking about Mary. And, the whole thing is if you keep listening to what Meredith is saying, Meredith keeps saying there's something, maybe there's something going on in Mary's life because Mary isn't acting like herself. And I'm paraphrasing, by the way. And I'm like, but if you feel this way, then why not reach out to somebody that's been friends to you for 3 years now? Why not reach out to your friend? Why not ask your friend, like, hey, friend, something, I'm worried about you. Is everything okay? But you're not doing that. And then for Lisa to be like, oh, the way Mary treated you at the camp, it wasn't right. No, you just mad because Mary called you and her out and you can't handle it. Like when I tell you guys the end of this episode with them, it really pissed me off. Like it really pissed me off. And it took Brittany said, well, maybe what Meredith is saying is true. Maybe there is something going on with Mary. There is something going on with Mary. And I hope that Meredith and Lisa feel like complete shit after watching this episode. I hope they feel like complete shit after watching this episode. That is all I have to say when it comes to those two. And I still like Meredith, but I just have a little bit of a side eye right now for Meredith. I'm not feeling Meredith, and I'm not featuring Meredith at this current moment. But let's go ahead and move on, you guys, to the next scene. So, Heather, bravo. Y'all know y'all wrong for this one. Y'all know y'all wrong for keeping this same title card for Heather. This is the season one title card for Heather, and y'all ain't updated it or changed it since. And that girl done went through Ozempic, and y'all still playing her for this, right? So the beginning of the episode, we see as Heather went over to Whitney's house, right? And when she went over to Whitney's house, they are planning for a the camp is going to be like Troop Beverly Hills. They want to get the girls together because everything went to hell at Mary's house, right? So Whitney and Heather were sitting and talking, and Whitney is telling Heather how proud of her she was that with what happened with Bronwyn. However, Heather still has the same feelings towards Bronwyn, and I was like, so you were being fake, but that's who Heather is a fake ass person. And to think that season one, I liked Heather and I liked Whitney season one and two. And I pride myself. You know what I think? What it was, Whitney and Heather had a snowed. Has well not had some of y'all. They didn't have snow. Some of y'all saw through Whitney and Heather season one. Some of us gravitated towards them season one. And I think the reason why I gravitated towards them season one is because I did not like Jen. Meredith and Lisa were couldn't tell those two apart, so I didn't know who was who. And then you had Mary, which I did like Mary, but with Mary was problematic to me, season one. So we see as all the ladies are heading to this event, right? So this is where Bronwyn is, talking about how surprised she is that Heather invited her, and Meredith is talking about how surprised she is that Whitney invited her. Then Bronwyn says she's invited. She's surprised that both Heather and Whitney are doing this together, considering some stuff that Whitney said about Heather. And I was like, oh my god. So then we have Mary and Angie in the car with each other, right? So Mary is telling Angie about what happened with she and Meredith, right? When Mary shaded the hell out of that woman talking about I was an hour late because if you stop renting in Park City and actually renting in Salt Lake City, it wouldn't take me that long to get to you. I said, only Mary. Then we see that Brittany and Maylee, whatever her name is, they were there, and I was so shocked to see Maylee. Granted, she ain't said nothing. She may have said something in the scene, but if she did, Bravo cut it out because we didn't hear nothing from that girl. Brittany, girl, you look desperate, pathetic, and delusional. So Brittany and Jared are back together. I said, I know you lying to me. So Jared took Brittany to meet Donnie, and she says that he told her that he can see them being together. I said, girl, you are stupid, 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 stupid. But okay, girlfriend, do what you gonna do, right? So after that, they played a little sack race, and they sat down by the campfire. And so Angie decided to ask Brittany, like, Brittany, so you came for me at Mary's house, and you were up talking about how upset you were that I brought the alcohol to your home. And she's like, are you a practicing Mormon? So Brittany says, yes, she is, but she felt like Angie did it for show. I was like, huh? Somebody brings you alcohol for show? I mean, you don't. The age old saying is, don't show up at somebody's house empty-handed. But okay, Brittany. Then Angie says, but you text me saying thank you and that it was good. So which one is it? And I was like, oh, okay, you're a hypocrite and a liar. And Mary called it out that she's two-faced. And I was like, exactly. Also, something you guys I forgot to mention last week about Angie was when Angie told that woman, you doing three men. This woman said that she was dating 10 men, but she wasn't doing none of them. I was like, girl, you are all consumed by men and penis. Go seek therapy. Brittany, go seek therapy. Because there is something wrong with you, beloved. Is something wrong with you. So when Mary called her Two-Face, right? Brittany, Angie, not Angie, but Lisa was telling her to be, she's not Two-Faced. Girl, yes, she is. So then Mary addressed Meredith, telling her how rude she was to walk out of her home. And I agree. She was rude. And let me say this one more time before anybody, if anybody gets in the comments and try to, say, well, Mary said this and Mary said that. Mary was trying to diffuse the situation and get both Lisa, not Lisa, but Meredith and Angie to calm down. She told them both they can leave if they would not listen to her. But Meredith took it to heart. Meredith just decided to leave in itself instead of actually being quiet. So Brittany wants to chime in. And Mary told her, girl, I'm not talking to you. Shut up. I was like, thank you, Mary. So Meredith wants to tell um, Mary that you told me to leave. Ma'am, she didn't tell just you to leave. She told both of y'all, if y'all didn't listen to her, y'all could both leave her house. But whatever, right? So Whitney says that Meredith holds grudges, and she mentioned Lisa. So then Lisa chimes in and mentions what Bronwyn said. So Whitney is like, Bronwyn, what are you talking about? And she was like, well, you did say something about Heather that you don't feel like she has your back. And so Whitney said, wait, let's clear it up. What I said to you was, she feels so, and I'm a paraphrase because it's still stupid the way it go, right? But this is me paraphrasing it. So Whitney's whole thing is because she and Angie at the time had an issue with Lisa. She felt like with Heather, Heather was kind of basically trying to stay in good graces and be friends with Lisa, so she really wouldn't 100% have their back. Heather doesn't feel like it's talking crap about her behind her back. I was like, okay, girl, whatever. So then Angie decided to chime in, right? Because at some point we talking about what Angie, Whitney, and Lisa, Angie, Whitney, and Bronwyn. Remember a few episodes ago when they went out for a walk? Well, that came back up, right, about the fact that if Lisa, if when you're good with Lisa, you're good, but when you're not, she will come after you, and they're telling Bronwyn that she'll see. And Lisa's whole thing is you won't see anything. I was like, girl, yes, they will. And Mary even chimed in is like, yes, they will because you're a liar. And I was like, exactly. She is a whole ass liar. And she told her that she's fake, right? Lisa also called Whitney a liar. And Whitney told her, don't call her a liar. Then, like, everybody was just talking over each other and damn near talking at once, right? So we going back to Angie with Bronwyn. Angie told Bronwyn, girl, you can't hear, so you might want to borrow Meredith's hearing aid. And so Meredith got offended about saying to borrow her hearing aid. I was like, this is so stupid. So Mary, when I tell y'all Mary was gathering the hell out of Lisa Barlow, Mary was gathering Lisa left and right, grabbing her by them wrinkles that are in her face. I was like, get her, Mary, get her. And that was it. They ended that and we didn't go back to it. So, to end the episode, you guys, let's end it with Mary. I hate to end it with Mary, but this is something serious to talk about. And yeah, this episode was heavy. This was a heavy episode, but I knew it would be a heavy episode with the clips, with the preview for on last week's episode going into this one. I knew this week was gonna be heavy. Wasn't ready for it. definitely wasn't ready for it when we got to it. So Mary's scene, the first thing that we see with Mary, it was Mary as she was getting ready to go and meet up with Meredith, and she kept calling out for Robert Jr., but he wouldn't answer her. So she went to his bedroom door. She was talking to the bedroom door, but nobody ever answered her, right? So then another scene we see as she was getting ready for the outing with the girls. One thing, Mary, your bedroom, you have a lot of stuff in that bedroom. That you got a lot of stuff. You need to declutter your life. That is number one. So the ending scene of this episode, and let's see if I can get through this scene without me crying again, because I cried when I watched it. Whew. So Mary went to Robert Jr.'s bedroom, right? And Mary had a conversation with him, and he definitely has a problem, you guys. And I think it's a lot more than just him doing the what the things that he's doing. I don't want to say the word, but I think it's a lot more to that needs to be unpacked, because he's struggling with something, and it's a lot more than just that addiction, right? So with Mary, okay, he was high in this scene, and you could tell he was. So he goes into detail about what he's done, right? He's telling Mary that he takes a Xanny and he takes Adderall to balance out the Xanny. I was like, oh my God, that is terrible. And so Mary was like, do you realize that that's a problem? I was like, I hope he does. So then, he talked about the fact that he's taken acid before. I said, and when he said that one, that is when I broke down crying. When he said the acid, when that's when I kind of broke down crying, because I was like, yeah, it's something deep with him, because that was heavy. Um, what's going on? Is it unknown? I can't pronounce that, but let me get to you. You say this don't look like a weed high. I knew, yeah, that definitely was. Yeah, I knew it wasn't a weed high myself as well. I definitely knew it wasn't that. Dang, that plane is low. I knew it wasn't a weed high, because I'm someone who do I like Miriam said about him. She knew he did edibles, and she knew he smoked weed. I know what that high looks like, right? Because I've definitely I do it, and I saw myself when I'm high, so I know what that high looks like, and that wasn't it. So he said he's done that. He's done Xanny, Adderall, and acid. And then he was even talking about the fact that he wanted to unalive himself. And the only reason why he didn't do it is because of Mary. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And Mary is blaming herself because, like she said, she knew he was smoking weed and doing edibles, and she thought that that's where it would end. It's so interesting because this kind of reminds me of myself with my mom when she found out that I smoked weed, right? Because me and her had the same conversation. And the reason why my mom and I had that conversation is because my mom worked as a as in a as a oh God, what was my mom? She worked in a clinic, right, for drugs and alcohol. She was a substance abuse counselor. So my whole entire life, I've always heard about, not from her, not to do this, not to do that, because you can get addicted to it, right? So, when my mom found out that I smoked weed, she was much like Mary. We had a conversation, and she was like, "Is that all that you're doing?" I said, "Yeah, that's all I'm ever gonna do. I am never gonna touch any of that other stuff because I don't. I'm not chasing a high." And that's what I told her. I'm like, I'm not chasing a high. There's nothing that I'm chasing. I'm like, I smoke because I like it. And it makes me feel, it just calms, it mellows me out. It ain't nothing else to it. And that's all I've ever done. In my years on this earth, that's all I've ever done. But I definitely will pray for Mary and her son because there's some issues between both of them, right? Because when he said that he wanted to take himself out and Mary broke down crying, and Mary told him that, he's her friend, he's her son, he's her everything, and how before he came into her life, she wasn't happy. And I was like, wow, that speaks volumes too. And I want to say something, but I don't. I'm gonna say it, and I hope that what I say doesn't offend anybody because I am someone who grew up in the church as well. But I think a lot of people who grow up in the church and they listen to the preachings and things of that nature and hear some of the things, here's things that people say that, are perceived as sins, abominations against God and all that kind of stuff. It, it messes with people's minds, and it makes them it makes them seek out other things to, hide or even suppress certain things. I'm not saying so I'm just saying, and I'm not saying that's what the case is with Mary and her son, but there's something there with those two, because for her to say she wasn't happy until she had him, and for him at 16 years old, I don't know what you could be going through at 16 years old that you would be experimenting with all of this stuff. I just don't know what's going on in your life that at 16, these are the things that you're doing. Now, again, for me, yes, I'll tell you guys, I was 14 years old the first time that I ever smoked weed in my life. But again, I just did it because I was bored. But I don't, and the thing about me is I don't have an addictive personality. So I knew that I would never get addicted to it. So I was never worried for myself. Unlike my mother, that lady was a worrier. She was worried that I would probably end up like Robert Jr. So yeah, you guys, just gonna send a prayer up for both Mary and for Robert Jr. because that was heavy and that was very, very deep. And like I said like I said earlier, I hope that watching this episode, both Meredith and Lisa feel like complete shit. Seeing what this woman was going through. I hope they feel terrible. And more so Meredith than anybody. Because if Mary was your friend, and you said it that you felt like Mary used you for 3 years, what did she use you for 3 years? Like, I would love to know what Mary used you for. This season, Mary is back as a full-time housewife. Last season, she came on as a friend of, and she was cool with you and with Monica. Season two, she wasn't on the show. So I don't know what Mary has used you for, Meredith. And you guys, like I said, you guys know I like Meredith, but I was just so displeased with Meredith with this episode. But yeah, you guys, that's all we got for Salt Lake City. Uh, a supersized episode and a good episode, but a very heavy episode. And let me know what you guys thought about it in the comment section. And I will see you guys again on. I don't know when I'll see you guys again because if you guys don't watch the show on Bill Collective, I'm gonna watch that and I'm gonna put up a video. I think I'm gonna put up a video on Friday, just talking about my thoughts on the first few on the episodes that have already aired, and we'll go from there. I don't know if I'm gonna do reviews every week or just go every so often and peek in and be like, "Hey, I watched it. I thought about this. Da 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 da." I haven't thought about it yet, you guys, but I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Hope you guys, if you guys are celebrating the holidays, I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. If you're not celebrating a holiday, I hope you guys just have a great day in general. And I will see you guys in the next video, you guys. And as always, you guys, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands and be blessed, you guys. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.